It's been about 3 weeks since the trade deadline and the last video. There's about 5 weeks left in the season. The reason it's been like 3 weeks, kind of let that much time go between the two videos, is I really want to get a feel with how much has changed of this new team and exactly what's happening and what the problems and issues are and kind of things that we're struggling with, because there's some things that are really annoying me, but then I realized again, like, these guys are all young, and when I look at kind of what they're doing, I actually should be like generally impressed instead of getting frustrated. But first, I want to let you guys know of the things going on around the league. The last video happened about 3 days before the trade deadline. Only one additional trade went down. Funny enough, it was the Pacers, who seem to just keep making moves. They have 4 first-round picks, and they decided to get rid of the Warriors' first-round pick that they got from the Nuggets. Along with Darrell Arthur, they traded both of them to the Hawks, and the Hawks had the Pelicans' first-round pick in 2018, and they gave them the Pelicans' 2018 pick and Mike Muscala, and they got back the Warriors' 17 and Darrell Arthur. So basically, the Pacers were just picking up a future first-round pick. I don't even understand this from the Hawks' perspective, but they're getting a pick in this draft, even though I feel like it's going to be later than if they would have kept this Pelicans pick. And then the player swap, I don't completely understand it, but I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I have no idea what the Hawks are doing. They're just one of those mid-tier teams. Their moves don't make a lot of sense to me, but they're a solid team, so I can't really judge their moves harshly. And then there were some coach firings around the league. These are actually a little more recent. The Magic fired Frank Vogel. The Knicks fired Jeff Hornacek. And the Hornets, who are actually the worst team in the league currently, fired their coach Steve Clifford, which that was kind of surprising. It's just surprising in general that the Hornets are currently the worst team in the league. Speaking of the standings, currently the worst team in the league, like I said, is Charlotte. They only have 19 wins. There's still about 5 weeks left in the season. That's just really surprising. They have a solid team. They made the playoffs last year. No one got injured or anything, so they've just been playing really bad. And what's even more ironic for Charlotte is this draft is full of point guards, and that's the one position that they're kind of set at with Kemba Walker. So, and then the other team, the second team, or the team that would have the second overall pick in the draft would be the Magic, of course, assuming the lottery doesn't change anything. Then third would be the Phoenix Suns. Fourth is the Indiana Pacers. They've actually won a few games with these young guys they've acquired, which is just, good for them. Then fifth is the Sacramento Kings, and then we're sixth. So we're sitting there at sixth right now. This is why when I was talking about how I'm frustrated, but I really shouldn't be, is what I mean, because we're actually winning some games. We were like the second or third worst team. Now we're like sixth. We're actually tied. We're sixth, but we're tied with the team in seventh for that record. So we've been winning some games and playing good basketball since we made the Moutier trade, which I should really be happy about. It's just when I play with us, it's very frustrating because I feel like we're not playing up to our full potential. Speaking of the draft, this draft is loaded with guards, especially point guards. There's some small forwards. The first power forward or center is like on the big board. It's like 13th, which is just crazy because it's like if we do have our pick, it'd be the top 3 in order for us to keep it. And the first big guy is 13th, which is crazy because that essentially means that I'm not going to take a guy who's that far down just because we need him. I believe in taking the best player available at the time. So it looks like if we get our pick, it's probably going to be a guard, which is going to cause a lot of problems because we already have Moutier and Russell and Nwaba and Ellis and Clarkson. And Clarkson's already mad about the Moutier stuff. So things are going to get very complicated if we do keep our pick. There's always the scenario that we don't keep our pick and then we don't have to worry about it. But of course, either way, we're going to lose a pick because if we get to keep it this year, then we lose it next year. But if we don't keep it this year, then we do get it next year. So I'm really not sure which way I'd prefer. I'd probably prefer it in this draft just because this draft is really loaded with talent. There's Markelle Fultz, Dennis Smith Jr., there's a Malik Monk, I like Josh Jackson, Jason Tatum. There's a lot of guys, but there's no bigs, so it'll just clog our front court. Might eventually come down to like a trade to maybe get a big, but we'll really get into that more when we get closer to the draft, exactly what we're thinking and what we should do. Now I want to talk about our team and how we've been doing since the Moutier trade. We've been playing good. We've been staying in games late, and then late it seems like we kind of blow it a lot. Like, we'll be in it 2-3 point game, and then it'll just balloon to like 10 within a matter of like 2 minutes. Like, we just play a terrible 2 minutes where our spacing just gets terrible. We miss wide open shots. Defensively, we're not focused, and then the game's gone, which that really frustrates me. I get mad. But then when I think about it, it's like the fact that we're staying with them the whole game down to those final couple minutes is that's good. And then with young teams, you can kind of expect that in late in games. This is all experience. I guess this is good experience, and I'm hoping that next year it'll really show that next year we'll be able to stay in those close games. But to talk about our offense a little bit, our starting lineups floor spacing is okay. It's solid. Russell has been driving me crazy, or not Russell, sorry. Julius Randle, the power forward, has been driving me crazy. He cannot make a three to save his life. He'll be wide open and miss, and then he'll have a guy up in him and he'll like drain it. He'll go 1 for 5, but his one make will be with a guy up in his grill. Mozgov, his mid-range is like 50-50. He's a good mid-range shooter, but then he'll be wide open because they'll double team Russell going to the hole and he'll miss it. I like Moutier's athleticism. He can take a guy one-on-one if we spread everybody out, especially in that small ball lineup. If Moutier can get past the guy one-on-one, which he's proven he can do most of the time, then he can just kick it out, and we got shooters around to drain it. David Nwaba is playing really good. I'm really liking him. Like, it's tough because we have so many guards, and Nwaba is having to give up time to like a Monte Ellis. But when Nwaba is playing, he's playing in limited time, but in his limited time, he's playing really good. He's knocking down the three. He's playing really solid defense. He's a free agent after this year. We're going to really need to try to re-sign him. I like what he's showing. I like what he can be in the future. Russell's been playing really good at the 2 guard. He's knocking down the catch and shoot threes. He can pull up and shoot the ball. Him and Moutier kind of handle the ball on and off. Both of them do. Sometimes I throw Russell in the game without Moutier. I'll play Moutier without Russell, but they've really gelled playing together, and they really play good with Nwaba at the 3 because Nwaba just stands out there, catches and shoots, and both of them can do the ball handling. When you've got a guy like Ingram on the floor with them, Ingram wants to handle the ball, but he's just so slow in the pick and roll. I can't stand to play the pick and roll with him right now. I really hope his foot speed gets better. His shooting's been iffy too. You guys already know this. I told you in the last videos his defense has been the strong point. I don't really need to go over that a lot. Just hoping in the offseason he takes the offensive step, and next year he'll come out and really hit shots and be able to run the pick and roll and be the ball handler, be that small forward ball handler that a lot of teams have, that all-around player. One other guy standing out off of the bench is Zubac. Right now he's averaging 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's showing a really good all-around game. His defense he still struggles at. He's been posting up really well on the offensive side though. But hopefully that defense just gets better with time. Getting rid of Nance has really opened up a lot of time for Zubac to play, and he's really been showing a lot of good potential for the future, which I'm really excited about. Next year he can be maybe like a scoring punch off the bench. Speaking of Zubac, for a couple weeks where he was playing really good, he actually made it into the 5th spot at the 6th man of the year voting. He jumped up a lot, and then he kind of fell way out now. So that was just kind of cool to see him make that quick jump for those like 2 weeks that he was playing really good. And then when I was looking through the awards, I actually noticed that D'Angelo Russell right now is 2nd for most improved player behind Nikola Jokic. So I'm really kind of rooting for him. Maybe he can win that. He's averaging 20 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists per game. Ever since he moved to shooting guard, his assists have gone way up. When Moutier drives, kicks it to Russell, if a guy tries to close out on Russell, Russell will just kick it to the next guy, and that's really bumped up his assists. If he doesn't win most improved player, it still just shows how much he's improved since last year, and I'm hoping he can take a big jump next year too. Because like I've said since the beginning, I've always liked Russell. He's always been my guy. I think he's going to be one of our main players for the future. There's only about 5 weeks left in the season, which is just crazy. The season's flown by. There's not a lot more to talk about in this season. The draft is approaching quickly. We're not going to make the playoffs. The draft lottery is going to be a big thing. I want to do that review where I go over the players' individual stats, see what the advanced stats say about the players, see how they've improved from the beginning of the year till now. So that's going to be interesting. We'll talk about how the players have done overall when the season ends. Then we'll really get into the draft and what this team looks like next year and what the goals will be for next year. So there's still 5 weeks left in the season. We've got some more stuff to talk about, but the season is coming to an end. So that's crazy. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys